What's up? It's time, y'all. It is time for the John Browner Podcast. The John Browner Podcast is coming to you live via Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Kick. I'm across a lot of networks. We podcasting. We ready to roll. Let's get to work, man. Let's get to work. On the show today, I got a couple of topics that I'm interested in sharing with y'all. First up, cuz Raiders make Kirk Cousins the number one quarterback. I also have in that I got 5 on it about the Padres win. I got some comments about Baker Mayfield and some other NFL quarterback conversations. And I'm going to start doing something on the end of the show I'll call One More Thing. I'm going to start doing something on the show called One More Thing. One more thing. So whenever the show's over, I'm going to start hitting y'all with one more thing. Because I saw something before the show started and I didn't have time to prep for it, but I saw this thing when the show started that I was like, oh, hell no. So whenever you see me do one more thing, that means I've done a lot of prep for this show. And by the time it gets to the point where I want to talk about the things I have planned, something else came up. So that's what the one more thing is going to be about today. Shout out to the chat pack. We in the building. What it do? What it do? So, as always, when we start the show, I always tell people, if you want to be a part of the show, head over to the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com. That's how you find me. That's where I find you. That's where we have long-form conversations about the show, about what are we doing, about where we're going, about live appearances, about something you liked or didn't like. It's where all the bills come, etc., etc., etc. So that's where you talk to me personally on the show, John Brown at johnbrownerpodcast at gmail.com. As always, as the show continues to march forward, we are on the road to 500. If you're new to the show, we do this Monday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, except for tomorrow. There's no show tomorrow. I have business to take care of. So we're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We did the march to 300. We were successful. We have crossed the 300 threshold, and now we're trying to make the road to 500. The JBP is on its way to 500. So shout out. Shout out to all the people who wanted Ass Island stickers. Ass Island stickers are available in the shop. The John Browner Podcast shop, courtesy of Shopify. I got to remake this video because the stickers aren't there. But now we got stickers in there. Obviously, we got the new Ass Island out here. Boom. So we rounded, man. Things are coming into shape. Things are coming into shape. Shout out to Coach Alex. As y'all all know, the chat pack is my co-host. This show is heavily dependent on the people who interact with the show. That's how we get down. That's how I always wanted this show to be. And y'all are a heavy part of the show. Shout out to Johnny 4 East. Shout out to Coach Alex. Shout out to the chat pack. So let's get the show started. Let's get the communication. Oh, I almost forgot. Shout out to the Sporting Tribune. This show is always available via the Sporting Tribune on X. We're going to be coming to you on the Sporting Tribune's YouTube page soon. I'm working out the logistics of connecting this feed to that feed, so it's all technical, and sometimes I am tech savvy, but even I have questions. So we'll get to that eventually. You'll start seeing new people pop in, and we'll go from there. What up, Biggie? What up, Tito? So let's start here. Nah, cuz this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. We're gonna talk about some quarterback battles around the league, but I don't really think they're battles. I think they're more of eventually we'll land at this position. And this is one where I've talked about this before. So Clint Kubiak has announced that Kirk Cousins will be the starter in camp. It's very important that we put in camp in that sentence. So as camp starts, Kirk Cousins is the starter. I don't believe that when game one happens against the Dolphins, that Kirk Cousins will be the starter. I am of the ilk. I am one of those people that I believe the rookie should always start at quarterback. If you drafted this guy as the number one pick, he is your starter immediately. He's going to suck, period, when he starts the season. It doesn't matter. It never has mattered. Caleb Williams initially, not good. Question marks. Drake May did not start, but when he did finally get on the field, awful. Bo Nix struggled. Those three players, two of them were in the NFC Championship, and one of them has shown himself to have the greatest comeback year in the history of the NFL. Those are your last three guys who were drafted high that played immediately. This is not chess. This particular move is not chess. This move is checkers. And it's checkers in the sense that your first game is against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are not good this year. The starter for the Dolphins couldn't even throw out an opening pitch at the Marlins game. Wide right. So if you want to start a rookie, this is the game you probably want to do it against the Dolphins. He's going to take his lumps no matter what. The idea that this kid, who, by the way, he's not a 20-year-old rookie. He's not a 21-year-old rookie. Fernando Mendoza is an adult man. And so the idea that you want to ease him in, the idea you would like to ease him into the job, to me, seems asinine. It seems like Clint Kubiak wants to start the season with a win for his record. Starting Kirk Cousins does absolutely nothing for you. It does zero for your franchise. Fernando Mendoza is not going to learn anything watching Kirk Cousins struggle to get out of the pocket. Fernando Mendoza is not going to learn anything watching Kirk Cousins dirt the ball. Fernando Mendoza is not going to learn anything watching Kirk Cousins take sacks. He's not. So whatever you think negative will happen to Fernando Mendoza and you can't get him back, then he's not the guy. And you know that immediately. They're starting the quarterback right away is a win-win situation. You throw him into the fire, he will struggle because the game will be so fast. But that also, as an ownership, this is why you have to do this from an ownership on down perspective. And I don't think many people look at it from that way. If I'm the owner of this team, I'm constantly evaluating my organization from top to bottom. I'm evaluating my player personnel people. I'm evaluating my general manager. I'm evaluating my head coach. I'm evaluating my quarterback. I'm evaluating all the players. I'm evaluating everything that's not me because I can't be fired. So if I'm the owner of the team, this is the number one thing that's important to me. Getting this kid on the field ASAP to see what he can do. So if you're telling me you're my general manager, you're my player personnel guy, you told me to take this guy at number one. You said he was the most ready. Here we are, day one of camp. What do you mean Kirk Cousins is the starter? Explain this to me. Because I was told we're taking this pick because this guy is generational. This guy's a leader. You can't lead with a clipboard in your hand. I don't want that kind of leader as an owner. Come game one, if he's not on the field, why was he not prepared? Game one, we get him out there, and he sucks. Why did he suck? You're my coaching staff. Why didn't you give him better plays? We were playing the Dolphins. The Dolphins aren't going to the Super Bowl. The Dolphins don't have some nasty defense. The Dolphins got a new coach like we do. The Dolphins got a new quarterback like we do. The Dolphins have a depleted wide receiver room like we do. We're better at tight end. We're better at running back. Why were we unable to be successful in game one with Fernando Mendoza? Explain it to me, Clint Kubiak. Because as an owner, when it's going down, I'm evaluating everybody. I was told by you guys that this was the guy. So why is Kirk Cousins named the starter? Kirk Cousins isn't the future of this organization. We're taking our lumps with Fernando Mendoza. We're not hiding behind the games of, oh, well, he's going to sit and watch. Sit and watch what? You can name him the starter. You can give him all the first-team reps, and he can also learn from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a 100% professional. I became a fan of Kirk Cousins watching Quarterback, the Netflix series, because Kirk Cousins and his family were hilarious in a way that I don't think people understood. Their 65-year-old husband-wife masseuse that comes to his house and cracks his back from the brain things he put on his head to his wife being like right out of the Stepford Wife handbook. Like the Kirk Cousins portion of quarterback was the reason I watched the entire season. What up, Ass Technology? That's the number one reason I watched. It was great. Kirk Cousins was great on there. I became a fan of the person Kirk Cousins because of that. That's how I know you can learn from him. You can learn from him. You can sit behind Kirk Cousins, or Kirk Cousins can sit behind you and tell you about what's happening and what you're seeing because he's been through it. That's how you help Fernando Mendoza. You start Fernando Mendoza, and then you allow Kirk Cousins to help him where he makes mistakes, because Kirk Cousins knows this offense very well, and he's made every mistake you can possibly make in this offense. There's video for that. There's years of this Kirk Cousins in this offense with video of it that you can pop on and show Fernando Mendoza with Kirk Cousins sitting right there and going, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is the route I made wrong. This is the read I made wrong. This was the defense they were in. This is how I got fooled. Because that's what you're going to do anyway. I never bought into this. I never bought into not starting the guy you took number one. If you are in a draft class where you're forced to take a quarterback number one and that guy's not ready to play, then you should have traded that pick to somebody who was dumb enough to draft a guy at number one who wasn't ready to play. Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jaden McDaniels, Drake May, all four of those guys, right out the box. Jaden McDaniels, right out the box, ready to go. And was good too. Got hurt the second year, but phenomenal the first year. Right out the box. This isn't hard. Either these guys can play or they can't. And I'm not talking about you're going to know after a year, but you know what you have after a year. You'll know where you need the building blocks at. You'll know the things you don't have to work on in the offseason versus the things you do need to work on in the offseason. Where he needs to learn within a playbook and the parts of the playbook he has full command over. As opposed to it being 101 versus, 105. That's levels. So I'm watching the way that the Raiders are handling this, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I think this is bad for the organization. I think this is not a good look for the coaching staff. And if I'm Mark Davis, I don't want to see this. What do you mean? He take his lumps. That's what we're paying him for. We're paying him to learn. You learn on the job. I also think about it like this. We all went to college, right? And those who didn't go to college, you got a job right out of college, or you got a job while in high school. You started working a job. Whatever they taught you about in college about that job, a tiny bit of it applied when you actually started doing the job. I majored in communications. I minored in journalism. When I started working at a radio station and a television station, a teeny tiny bit of information that I learned in college actually applied to the job. Because each company is different. They may use different software. They may operate on different principles. There needs to be some things you learned in college that are outdated by the time you get into the working field. You can't learn anything really tangible by watching. You cannot learn how to swim reading a book. The only way to learn how to swim is to dive into the water. You cannot ride a bike by reading a book. You have to get on the bike. I am in the process of teaching my children, 4 of the 5, how to ride a bike. I am sweating bullets doing this because it's hot, but between the running and the holding of the bike and instructing them, each one of them is learning in a completely different way on how to ride the bike. Some of them are learning faster than others. One of them picked it up immediately. Can pedal, can keep speed, working on directions, working on brakes. But the 4 of them are learning, same 7 and 6. They're learning at the exact same pace, but they're picking it up different. But they can't do that if I'm instructing them or they're watching their brother or they're watching their sister ride the bike. You're not going to learn like that. This is no different. You can only learn by being in the field. You can only learn by getting your hands in the dirt or getting knocked in the dirt. You can go to the police academy all you want. You can have all the training you want. That first traffic stop, oh buddy, that heart is pounding. Because this ain't like what they trained you for. You can practice sports every day of the week. You can practice and practice, and you can drill, you can practice, you can practice. Nothing like game speed. There's nothing like game speed. Trust me, I play at every level. Middle school, AAU, high school, college, pro. There's nothing like game speed. Nothing. You can practice as hard as you want. You can have people come in and watch the practice. You can have full speed practice. You can practice against a different team. There's nothing like game speed. So there's nothing he can truly learn that he doesn't already know by watching someone. Nah, cuz this ain't it. If you're a Raider fan, I don't want to see this either, by the way. If you're a Raider fan, I didn't buy season tickets for this. Biggie says, I hate to go there, but you can name the last Nordic quarterback who was healthy and then started at the QB1. I can name plenty of quarterbacks of color who did not start at QB1, unfortunately. But that's not the conversation is we drafted this guy at number 1. The fastest way to get him on track is to play him. Now, not starting a guy because, let me make sure I'm reading this correctly because I think you're asking from a racial perspective. I can name plenty of quarterbacks of color who did not start at quarter QB. Yeah, that's a totally different conversation. I understand what you're saying, Biggie, but not starting a guy because he's black, that's dumb. That science has been proved out. We are long away from that. Because you remember back in the day, this used to be the process. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love didn't sit behind Aaron Rodgers. That's usually that's how the old school practice of this coordination was. I think, in my opinion, Peyton Manning destroyed that. The Indianapolis coach destroyed that. Peyton Manning was awful his first year. Became one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Second greatest, if you ask me. I know Montana won a lot of rings. Look at those rosters, buddy. Look at those Hall of Famers. And people, Tom Brady said, Okay. And I my personal belief, I'm not saying the other way doesn't work. But if I have the excitement of the number one pick, I want to see these guys playing football. I just gave you 4 modern day football examples of why this works right now. Caleb Williams, Jaden McDaniels, Bo Nix, and Drake May. Those are your 4 latest examples of the playing them now works. Because again, when Drake May was watching, he still stunk when he got out there. So what did he learn watching? You're almost all of them are going to be bad. This, that's not a knock on them as a quarterback, that they're going to be bad when they start out. It's a tough position. The game, again, game speed is unlike anything else. You cannot prepare for game speed, specifically if you're a rookie. It doesn't matter the sport. Going from high school, going from elementary school or middle school to high school basketball or football, from pee-wee to high school. Again, the speed of the game is like, whoa, these guys are bigger, these guys are faster. Going from high school to college as a freshman, whoa, these guys are bigger, these guys are faster. Going from college to the NFL or to pro, whoa, these guys are bigger, these guys are faster. It's pretty black, it's pretty simple. And the only way for you to be better at that is to play. So now, cuz Raiders make Kirk Cousins the QB1. Nah. Biggie comes back with not just black, but Hispanic now. Yeah, Manning had 27 interceptions his first year. Yeah, it was something crazy. He also agrees that Mendoza should play. Do the Raiders have to lose to be playing this guy? I don't think they have anything to lose. It's all upside. Like I said, it's all upside. You either can see he has it, he has the capacity to grow in it, or he's not the guy, and you need to go back to the drawing board. And by the way, you let him play, you lose, you get a top pick next year with all these guys coming out in the draft. So you might get a second bite at this apple, but I don't think it'll be that way. Set out Raiders versus everyone. Really deep Raider conversation today, bruh. So yeah, I totally disagree with this. I totally disagree with this. If you draft the guy number 1 and you roll into camp and he's not the number 1 starter, then as Mark Davis needs to start asking everybody questions. GM in my office, player personnel in my office, head coach in my office, right now. Right now. Coach says they actually did a lot in free agency, so it's not like he doesn't have protection or offensive weapons. Yeah, they got Linderbaum. They got the number 1 center on the free agent market. They have the number 1 tight end. You drafted a blue chip running back last year. So it's not. This isn't Geno Smith's offensive line. So and they purposely did that because Clint Kubiak wants to run the football. So if you're going to run, and here's the thing too, by the way. And I don't want to hear, oh, Patrick Mahomes started. Patrick Mahomes didn't start right away. Alex Smith was a Pro Bowl quarterback. Like, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback. Alex Smith was an all-pro candidate at the position. That's why Drew Bledsoe played. He was a all-pro candidate at the position. He was a Pro Bowler at the position. That's why Tom Brady didn't play. Tom Brady wasn't drafted to play right away. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the number 1 pick and drafted to play right away. They knew he would play. They had a plan for him. Like, again, I don't think we see what we've seen, the growth from Bryce Young, if Bryce Young doesn't play right away. Hey, listen, I felt sorry for Geno last year too, bro. I did too. It was a rough watch for Geno last year, boy, running for his life after having such good back-to-back seasons in Seattle. But he got paid, so that's all that matters to him. Now he go back to the Jets. So apparently he likes punishment. Geno Smith loves punishment. Jets, Seahawks for success, back to the Jet. Raiders, pain, Jets, pain. Don't understand it. I really don't understand Geno Smith's quarterback arc. I really don't. So yeah, there's a couple of other quarterback stories out there I want to touch on as well. So one of the things in the NFL that we have to deal with from a fan perspective, the idea that some of these guys get paid at the position you go, damn, they're paying that guy. Damn, they're paying that guy. What up, excuseless? Damn, they're paying that guy. The Bucs' decision not to pay Baker Mayfield is shocking to me. The Bucs' decision not to pay Baker Mayfield is also kind of weird. Why won't the Bucs pay Baker Mayfield? What? They're not going to be bad enough to get a top pick. He's basically been a franchise level quarterback for them statistically when you look at it. Like, he's a former number one pick. You wouldn't do this to Trevor Lawrence. Like, what is it about Baker Mayfield that the Bucs don't trust? He's been healthy. He's been effective. He's won games. He's a leader. Like, Baker Mayfield is everything you want in a quarterback. But they won't pay him. And he's not asking for, Patrick Mahomes, oh my God, level money. He ain't asking for a Thanos level paycheck. My boy he didn't want to be compensated, dog. Put this fan in. Hold on, y'all. It's getting a little warm in here. He just won't be compensated. So now Baker Mayfield is going to play this year without a extension on his deal. Baker Mayfield is 31 years old. And this is the guy you don't want to pay. A guy in the prime of his career has taken you to the playoffs multiple times. No, he's not Tom Brady. No one is. Who would they if you don't want to pay a guy being this successful for you, do you think he was all Mike Evans? Like, there's a lot of question marks. Yeah, we could talk quarterbacks here in this segment. But let me I'll get to Joseph Cabral's question about Cam Ward. Joseph Cabral asks, how do you think Cam Ward does this year in Tennessee? We'll rock to that in a second. I don't understand how a guy like Baker Mayfield can be successful in your organization, get you to playoff games, carry your offense, because Mike Evans has been in and out recently. Ask a bunch of fantasy owners, they'll tell you. Chris Godwin, great receiver. They've been okay at the running back position. And yet here we are asking the question of what happens when they don't pay Baker Mayfield. Because I'm telling you right now, Baker Mayfield might put up MVP numbers this year. And then he's going to force you to pay him that Patrick Mahomes money. See, right now, you can get him on a respectable deal. He knows where he is. He's just trying to secure the bag. And as an organization, you might want to secure the bag with a quarterback that you can have on a solid contract and not taking up 10 to 15% of your cap. This is bad business in Tampa Bay. It's confusing business in Las Vegas. It's bad business. It's confusing in Las Vegas. It's bad business in Tampa Bay. This is bad business. This is going to cost them tens of millions of dollars, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars. Because if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm not going to argue with y'all. Y'all don't want to pay me cool. I'll see you at the end of the year. Because I'm finna bet on me. I'm finna bet on me. That's how I got here as a number one pick, betting on me. That's how I revived my career, betting on me. I rescued Joe after Tom Brady because I bet on me. Now y'all don't want to pay me? Cool. So look, man, Baker Mayfield got commercials. Baker Mayfield's a pitch man. He's doing, bread, put it in the oven, bread commercials with who was it? What's up, Sarah Harris 3? So look, man, I don't know. I really don't. This is a sports talk show, Sarah. I don't know what in the world the Bucs are thinking and not paying Baker Mayfield. I really don't know. Now, and here's the problem with this. Because, Biggie, you tossed a very interesting question out there. Baker Mayfield could end up as a Steelers quarterback next season if he plays well this season. I don't think Baker Mayfield is playing for another franchise for his entire career. Because I think the Bucs, if Baker Mayfield puts up an MVP year, they will sign him. If Baker Mayfield asks them not to sign him, they will franchise tag him. And then if they put him on a trade market, they're going to demand so much for him, no one's going to pay for it. We in San Diego, Sarah. Southern California Sports Show. So that's real. That's what we're doing. I think they're playing a dumb game with Baker Mayfield. Because next year, if you put him on the franchise tag, that's like $50 million. At the rate it's going, it might be $60 million, depending on who signs in the offseason. Because I would wait to sign that tender. Because if you wait to the last minute and somebody reworks the deal, bang, that's now the highest contract, and that's what they're comparing it to. So you might end up giving Baker Mayfield $60 million next year when you could have had him for 40, 45. And that's a good number for quarterbacks at this point. Now, Joseph asks, what about Cam Ward this year? That's a very good question. Cam Ward started day one. Cam Ward had his ups and downs. I like Cam Ward a lot. I don't like the Titans as an organization a lot. So I don't necessarily see them as, a playoff contender in the AFC South. I think they have a long way to go. I think Jacksonville is better. I think Jacksonville in the second year of a coach. I think Jacksonville with Travis Hunter returning. I think, another year in the offense for Trevor Lawrence. It's my personal opinion. I don't know. I think Cam Ward is a good wide receiver. I like their draft. I'm not sold on the coach. Remember, they fired their coach in the middle. They fired their coach in the middle of the season. So I don't know what they're doing as an organization. But I don't know. I don't know what Cam Ward's going to do. I hope he does. Because I like, good young quarterback play is better for the NFL, is better for the league. It makes everybody better. It makes the television product better, most importantly. Okay, Sarah, you're flooding, and you're trying to sell me something. This isn't the place for that. If you want to sell me something, email me at johnbrownerpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, listen. Sarah, send whatever you want to send. Whatever you're trying to sell me, Sarah, send it here. Okay? All right. Stop flooding the comments. I see it. I get it. So there's another quarterback thing that's going on in Minnesota. What's happening in Minnesota is very interesting too, by the way. Kyler Murray versus JJ McCarthy. I honestly think that this is a show competition. I don't think there's any way Kyler Murray doesn't start. I don't think there's any way Kyler Murray doesn't start the year at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's very simple. I think it's very black and white. They brought in Kyler Murray. There's a new general manager. You clearly saw the coach's frustration. You saw Justin Jefferson, who they're paying a boatload of money to not catch balls, to run and be overthrown, and then to be frustrated. They're paying him way too much money for that. So this is why Kyler Murray's in the building. Because the person who drafted J.J. McCarthy, the person who let Sam Darnold go to Seattle and win a Super Bowl, that guy's no longer employed with the organization. And so now everybody's looking at you, J.J. McCarthy. You're next. You're next, buddy. There's a high belief that Kevin O'Connell can coach. There's a very high belief that Kevin O'Connell can coach. There's little to no belief that J.J. McCarthy can play the position. There's little to no belief that J.J. McCarthy's a leader. There's little, but the same things can be said about Kyler Murray. And I like Kyler Murray. Look at that. Hey, man, listen, don't start this Cowboy stuff, dog. Don't come here with this Cowboy stuff, okay? Then what the Cowboys do. If you trade Justin Jefferson to the Raiders for what? Why would they do that? Why in the world would they do that? Sarah Harris, okay? Listen, last time, the Instagram is the same as the show, the John Browner Podcast. That's the Instagram. That is the Instagram. The email is johnbrownerpodcast@gmail.com. It's all the same, purposely, one thing across all platforms. It's very easy to find me. I do not Discord. No Discord for me. So, well, Aztec, really? Justin Jefferson ain't going nowhere, dog. Yeah, the bots be in here, bro. I respect Sarah Harris' hustle though. Coach says no Cowboys. You already spoke about them once, right? No. I'm not. This is not turning into a Cowboy conversation. I promise. Listen, I promise y'all, we ain't never doing that. This show ain't taking. Listen, I told y'all before. If I ever start talking Cowboys on this show more than once a year, then somebody else is paying me a lot of money to do so. This is a Cowboy-free zone. If you ever see me talking about the Cowboys on this show and they've done nothing, like right now, the Cowboys have done nothing. There's so many more interesting stories across football camps right now than the Dallas Cowboys. If you ever hear me talking about them this early in the season, other than the one story that I'm obligated to do, then you know somebody else is paying for this show. Because as long as it comes out of my pocket, buddy, not happening. See, I honestly believe the Raiders have a number one receiver already. It's the tight end. It was a beast last year. He was a beast last year. So I don't he was so I don't think trading for a number one is the answer. I mean, listen, what you would have to give up to get Justin Jefferson at this point in his career, at this point where the Vikings are as an organization with their coach, and now they're in quarterback transition, They whenever they've had serviceable quarterback play, they've won 10 to 12 games. So they would rather try to get the serviceable quarterback play than to blow it all up and trade Justin Jefferson. So but you're doing that thing where certain fan bases do where they think they can trade and get everybody. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, Raiders versus everyone. Yes, Biggie. Yes, they're trying to sell me something. No Raiders for no cowgirls talk. Amen, brother. No cowgirls talk. There's other teams. If you want to get Cowboy coverage, go to ESPN. I promise you, there's no shortage of Cowboy coverage when it comes to the NFL. None. Excuses says Devontae Adams. There you go. He whined his way out of there. As Technology says, what about the Bears? By the way, I'm glad you asked this question. Because I'm not trying not to overbear this podcast. Okay. I don't want to be overbearing. See what I did there? I think the Bears are going to be I think the Bears are going to be a top 3, if not 4, NFC team. I think they're going to rival the Rams for the championship. I honestly believe that. I think the only weakness for the Bears right now is defensively. They're not going to create 33 turnovers again this year. I've never seen anything like the way they created turnovers last year. And I mean nothing. Nothing like the way they were creating turnovers last year. I don't think they're going to be able to recreate that because turnovers are half luck, half circumstance, right place, right time. Deshaun Wright, a guy who got a lot of those turnovers, they didn't re-sign him. So I don't know what was behind that, but he had a career year for them after being on the Vikings practice squad. So maybe they felt like his success was more based on their defensive alignment, which I don't believe to be true because the Bears got almost no pass rush last year. That's why the turnovers didn't make any sense. But they've changed their defensive. Dennis Allen is now using his scheme with his players. So we'll see where that goes. But from an offensive standpoint, I think the Bears are going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. I think Luther Burton's going to make a massive jump this year. I was never really sold on Rome Odunze. The Bears have 2 high-end tight ends and Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai in the backfield. The Bears have one of the best offensive lines in football. So led by Joe Thuney. And we all know Caleb Williams is Captain Clutch in the fourth quarter, the Iceman himself. So I'm telling you right now, I honestly believe that the Chicago Bears are a real contender. The question is, will they be able to stop anybody? Because something is telling me, something is telling me that their defense is going to look like the Cowboys did last year. Because they pay Montez Sweat a lot of money. He don't get no sacks. They don't get no sacks, buddy. Shout out to the people on Kick. Sarah Harris, you better follow me after all this commotion you caused in my comment section. I better have another subscriber when I go to Kick later today. It better be up to 3. Shout out to the people on Kick. Let me see. Steve Coast. She is from, or it is the bot, or Sarah Harris is from Kick. The show is broadcasted on Kick and Twitch and X and YouTube and Facebook. So we get a bunch of people in the comments that I can see on the broadcast that maybe you can't see. So that's why that looks like that. Biggie says Vikings coach is sitting on a super hot seat because it's almost over if the Bears and Lions run the division. Yeah, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think that this is. I think Kevin O'Connell needs Kyler Murray to come in and be successful. That's why I think JJ McCarthy is cooked. That's why I think it's over with for JJ McCarthy. Bottom line. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Don't bring no old school and hip hop in here, man. I'll start rapping and the show will get completely sidetracked, Coach. Don't do that. So yeah, man, very interesting. Very interesting. And again, for all the people new to the show, please head over to YouTube, subscribe to the show. We're on the road to 500. We're past 300. We were on the march to 300. We got there. Now we're on the road to 500. Let's make it happen for the JBP, the John Browner Podcast. As always, the show is broadcasted on many platforms. But the Sporting Tribune is the squad now. That's who I rock with. That's what we're doing. So show those guys some love. Sporting Tribune tonight, almost every night. At the end of the sports day, you'll catch me on there as well. Getting ready to launch a podcast network with the Sporting Tribune as well, so you can get all your Southern California sports. Lakers, Clippers, Rams, Chargers, Raiders, by the way, as well. A lot of NFL coverage coming up this season from me. A lot of NFL coverage courtesy of the Sporting Tribune, so stay tuned for that announcement coming early August. Let's get to the story. Speaking of old school hip-hop, I got 5 on it. Shout out to Fernando Tatis. By the way, so yesterday in the Padres, I think it was 6-7. I think the win was 6-7. It was 7-8, 6-7, something along those lines. But I think it was 6-7. Let me double check. Did they play again at 1:00? So we're not gonna overdo the conversation. But I do want to make sure that I get the score right, and I think it was 6-7 yesterday. So yesterday the Padres win. 8-7. See, 8-7 yesterday, 8-7. Makes it their 4th win in a row. We got to see my favorite guy, Mason Miller, come out and strike out the side. WVC Smirk says Padres hitting good. They seem like they know it's not. They seem like they know it's now or never. Okay, so now let me explain what happened with Fernando Tatis yesterday. Fernando Tatis going 5 for 5 from the leadoff position. Let me watch where my glasses at. I don't know where the other glasses at. I don't know my nerd glasses. They're somewhere around here, but Fernando Tatis Jr. going 5 for 5 yesterday as a leadoff hitter for the Padres had never been done before. By saying that makes him make history. He's the first Padre player ever to go 5 for 5 in the leadoff position. So shout out to Fernando Tatis Jr. Because if this is going to happen, again, now this is where you save the season. This is where you fool somebody like me to come back in. Because I told y'all, they swept the Marlins. Who cares? The Marlins at that point had lost 12 in a row. Now you come home, you beat the last place Rockies, you win these 2 games. You win yesterday 8-7, you win today, whatever the score is. That makes it 5 in a row. Okay? Stay with me now. You go up to I think San Francisco comes here, actually. Let me see. I think San Francisco does come here on Friday. Yep, San Francisco comes here for 4 games. You win 3 of those 4 games here against San Francisco, and now we can talk. Because now, instead of being 3 games back like you were a week ago, you've won 4 in a row. You're a game and a half back of the final wild card spot. Who holds that spot? Arizona. Who do you play after San Francisco? Arizona. But right now, you're playing the worst 2 teams in the National League. You got another one today against Colorado, and you got 4 against San Francisco in your ballpark. You need to win 3 of those 4 games. And if you do that, by the time you play Arizona, if not somewhere in there tied for the lead, you will absolutely be playing for your wild card spot. Because jumping the Nationals and jumping Pittsburgh, I don't think that's that big of a leap. It was when you had to jump Miami included and St. Louis, but Miami did it for you by losing 12 straight games. The Cardinals have done it for you by losing 3 in a row and being 2-8 in their last 10. The Nationals, who are still ahead of you, by the way, C.J. Abrams and James Wood looking real good right now. When you love a power-hitting outfielder and a young franchise shortstop, cheap. But I digress. because there's no guarantee they were going to do. James Woods would have done that here. I don't think C.J. Abrams would have done that here. But again, that's a different conversation. But can you imagine having C.J. Abrams and James Wood in this lineup? James Woods in left field, C.J. Abrams at shortstop. Can you imagine that? By the way, it would feel different. The optimism around here would feel different. The paychecks would feel different. The pressure on this organization to now move off one of these contracts would feel different. Just saying. Just saying. Well, hey, Biggie, listen, I know how the bots work, baby. The bots, I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I had said some things that have been posted on the internet. So I know all about bots. 4 months, I think that happened 4 months ago. 4 months later, I am more educated about social media than anybody I know in this business. Period, by the way. There's everybody's using fake bots. Everything is botted. 64% of X is bots. Instagram's bot number is in the 20-25%. Trust me, I've done the research. Because some of the stuff I was getting in my inbox after what happened and in my comment section to this day, a lot of people with no post. But they've had Instagram since 2014. The exact year that these people all got Instagram, they now also hate me. Very interesting. Those same people, 4 posts, they all have 0 to 10 posts. Most of them 0. Trust me, brother. Biggie, I know about them bots, baby. Let me see. Biggie says, damn, they're going to sweep my sorry-ass Giants. I hope they sweep your sorry-ass Giants. Because if they sweep your sorry-ass Giants and then they win today, that'd make it 9 in a row. I think I think that would make it 9 in a row for the Padres. If they win today, that would make 5. Yeah, that would make it 9 in a row if they came home and they swept the sorry-ass Giants. Now, if you win 9 in a row, I'm back in. You win 9 in a row, that would put you probably somewhere behind the Cubs because the Cubs are 5.5 ahead for the wild card. So you're probably not going to catch the Cubs either because every game the same runs out of the hourglass when it comes to who's going to play, who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. But if you get into the wild card after winning, if you sweep the sorry-ass Giants, but let's win today. Let's win today in about 3 hours, and then we can have that conversation. Is that why we're here? So you and my whole point is, at the end of this 6-game homestand that you have, at the end of this, if you look up and they've won 8 out of 9 games going into Arizona, I think you can actually have some real conversation after that. Because again, July 2nd, it's written down. I thought this season was over. July 2nd, I thought this thing was cooked. And by the way, I still feel that way, and I may still be proven right. But yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. You end with Arizona in there. You end with Arizona at home after a bout with the Dodgers. But before that, you got Miami with 3 games, Colorado for 4 games, San Francisco for 3 games. You got a good chance if you are in the wild card at the end of the season to really end on a cupcake schedule. They fought last night. But again, you're supposed to beat the Marlins. You're supposed to beat the Rockies. You're supposed to beat the Giants. You're supposed to beat these teams. Sweeping them, I don't put the pressure of a sweep on many teams. But you're supposed to beat the Marlins 3 out of 4 games or 2 out of 3 games. You're supposed to win both these games against the Rockies. You're supposed to win 3 out of 4 against the Giants. This is my sentiment, David P. You shouldn't have to work this hard to beat these bottom barrel teams. Now you beat them, and at the rate this team's going, the Padres I'm speaking of, you could lose to anybody. But if they can find a way to dig out of this, and we don't know about Joe Musgrove, we don't know about Nick Pivetta, but if this organization smells playoffs, if after this if after this run against San Francisco, they can look around and think they can get in, or they feel like they know they can get in, you're just missing a pitcher. Because again, the lineup just needs to hit. They don't need to trade anybody for this lineup. The lineup that they have needs to produce. If I told you they'd be damn near dead last in batting average to start the season, you wouldn't have believed me. I wouldn't have believed me. I'd have thought I was full of shit too. But here we are. And even after all that, bro, even after all that, you're now in the window with a chance. Show me what you made of. Whoops. My bad. My bad, y'all. But like I'm saying, you now have a window with a chance. I sideswiped on my little keypad here. I have this thing. I sideswiped on this thing and completely zoop. That was weird. Hold on, let me make sure okay. I'm still live in these places. Hold on, let me go around and make sure. Let's go. Let's go around and make sure we still alive out here, y'all. Cause that was trippy. Hold on. Yeah, I think my link broke. All right. Oh. All right. Well, anyway. Point being. Let me see. Hold on. My link is being reestablished. My link broke, so we lost all our bots. No. Yo, listen. Wah. So yeah. I this thing, right? I swiped. When you swipe, it basically goes backspace. And my bad. Y'all are funny. Look at this guy. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Joe Rigby laughing. Uh-oh. I think David P's his feet is behind. Morty Home trying our hardest to kill his trade value. Yeah. Let me see. One thing I learned about baseball is not who you play, it's when you play them, because right now the Padres are hot, and a month ago they were losing to everybody. Same thing for the Red Sox. Yeah, bro, the Red Sox are on fire. Excuseless. I thought the man was taking you down again. Bruh, it was me. I was the man. I'm the man that took me down. They do make a pill for those broken links, dog. Blue Chew, sponsor the show. I should reach out to Blue Chew. Yo, listen, I'm gonna maybe I will. You know, that's a great idea. I'm gonna call Blue Chew. I think I know somebody who can help me with a dick pill sponsor. I mean, I don't need it, but you never know. If I sponsor, listen, if this show gets sponsored by some dick, listen, the feed got cut on this, so a bunch of people who are watching this show are gone, and they would be offended by this. The people who are still here won't be offended by this. So let me ask this question. If I get sponsored by the dick pill people, y'all better buy some dick pills, code word brown man, or whatever. whatever the code word is, y'all better buy some dick pills. 20% 20% off. Code word brown man. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe. Maybe not. Yeah. Let me I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to fix this. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. Let me see who. Listen, you guys are funny. Joe Rigby, you got 5 kids, JB. Don't need no dick pills. I don't, but if they want to sponsor the show, B. Thompson. That's what I'm talking about, boy. He'll buy some pills. Shout out. Listen, excuses running say if they're trying to sponsor my running video, I'll be down. Don't you need like half of Viagra if you're going to be in the marathon? David P. not sure about the code word brown man. Why, dog? What you got? Why not brown man? Why not? Hold on, I gotta do this one more time. Hold on, I gotta reapply the link to the show. Hold on, give me 1 second. Because I got one more thing I want to talk about. Hold on. I got one more thing I want to talk about. And I think it's a sensitive topic. No, by the way, again, shout out to Toby McDonald. Let me see, where are we at? Get that Roe sponsorship. Nah, bro. Roe might be a little bit of they got Serena Williams as a sponsor. I think they may be too high for me. Blue Chew was doing Dan Sileo. I think I could get Blue Chew. Blue Chew had Rex Grossman. Not Rex Grossman, I'm sorry. Burt Grossman. Shout out to Burt Grossman. Incognito hey, listen. Absolutely purchase Incognito. I don't care how you do it. I got 5 on it for sure. Sponsored by Royal Honey. That's another one? See, I don't know. I'll find out. I'm finna find out, bro. I promise y'all. Get this sponsorship money. All right, now let me enough talk about dick pills. I saw something before the show started, and I want to talk about it because I really feel like Toilet King. What the hell is Toilet King? What is Toilet King? Maybe dude wipes. I don't know what Toilet King is. I'll get some dude wipes. Y'all rocking them dude wipes? Shout out to Spawn. Let's get sponsored by something really, really obscure. let's get a shout out to Underdog. Shout out to Joseph Cabal. Listen, let's get sponsored by something super obscure so they know it's us. Let me. So I decided to start this segment called One More Thing. So oftentimes on this show, I spend some time in the morning and a little bit of time at night preparing for this show. Shout out to Juliana. How about that brown thing? That's a confusing. That's a confusing. That could be a turd. This is a listen. This is a great comment. If I get if I get one of these obscure sponsors, I will now demand that my code name be Brown Thing. That's what Juliana gets comment of the show. Brown code word Brown Thing. Okay. All right. Now, let me talk about this. So I oftentimes spend time preparing for the show. WVC Smirks, I'm gonna try to get Alex back on the show to talk about the Vikings quarterback battle. He's doing a lot of football work with another company, so he will be prepared for that. So, on one more thing, I saw something on uh X after I had already prepared the show and I didn't have enough time to um add this to the show. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to post something for you. I'm going to show you something that was said by, oh, let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to share the screen because I want to explain the one more thing story in this particular way. So, and I want to find a different outlet to explain this. Okay, so the one more thing situation works like this. I saw this story about Sophie Cunningham and it got my attention, but it really annoyed me. So this is what the one more thing will more than likely be about as we begin to end the show. One more thing sponsored by that brown thing. Code word that brown thing. So Sophie Cunningham made some comments. We will have let me finish this thought before I talk about something else. So Sophie Cunningham made some comments about trans athletes. And so then a crowd, because the Indiana Fever have found themselves in a place they don't want to be when it comes to, sports and politics. Somehow the Indiana Fever, because of Caitlin Clark and the right wing, social media wave, have adopted Caitlin Clark as their athlete, and Sophie Cunningham is coming for the crown. And so she said something against trans athletes, which a crowd of a few dozen gathered outside of Climate Pledge Arena to support Sophie Cunningham and promote the statewide initiatives 638 and 001, which would ban transgender students from participating in girls athletics at Washington schools. So now let me explain where I stand on this. I don't think trans athletes, I don't think boys who transition into girls in high school should play with regular girls in a high school. Biological girls should not have to play sports against trans girls. But also to make this some type of rallying cry to protect young women in sports is highly foolish. It's highly foolish to constantly have this conversation as if young women are under attack in sport from trans athletes is absurd. You couldn't fill a high school basketball gym with the amount of trans high school athletes. There, there's not enough of them. Like literally, there's not enough of them. You couldn't have you couldn't have a doubles tennis tournament of trans athletes if you wanted to in the state of California, where a lot of that's, the floodgates are open. The Indiana Fever need to be very careful with what they're doing with their players. Because Sophie Cunningham is not going to make money playing basketball. Sophie Cunningham is going to make money as a right wing Barbie doll. Sophie Cunningham, her future is Fox News. Sophie Cunningham's future is Outkick. Sophie Cunningham's future is the right wing grift. And the Indiana Fever need to be very careful with how they handle what happens next with Sophie Cunningham. Because they're in a hornet's nest of controversy with this. I am not for trans kids playing sports. This is not a very difficult conversation for me. This is not some complicated stance. I'm just not. Get out of here. But at the same time, I'm not against kids who want to do that. So when we find ourselves at this crossroads where people like Sophie Cunningham are taking this very niche issue and extrapolating it into this completely other different thing, this isn't the conversation for this. Don't get yourself in trouble, JV. Affy says, Affy, I hear you. But what I'm trying to express to people is, as much as they're trying to make this into a talking point, this is not an issue in high school sports. This is not a problem. You see this? It said my favorite part of this story is it's a few dozen people gathered in Washington, Seattle to be specific. A few dozen, so 20 to 24, 25 people. A few dozen. Oh, trust me, buddy. I know they like to clip small parts. Oh, trust me, I know. 20 seconds to be exact. So, yeah, man. That's all. I don't think that this is a problem in America. I really don't. I don't think this is a problem. But I think people who are against this are really trying to make this into a problem like there are millions of kids. Let kids be kids, man. Let kids be kids. We all had different childhoods. We all grew up in different ways. And these kids are growing up in different ways. The one thing I will applaud kids on this situation is kids support other kids. I think for the first time in my lifetime, like, kids support each other no matter what. And I think that's healthy. When I was growing up, we bullied people. I think most people in this comment section, when you grew up, people bullied people. One thing about this show from the future going on, man, I got to tell y'all something. We ain't scared. I got to tell y'all, man. Shout out to Affy for looking out for your boy. But this show not scared, man. Not yet, at least. We're going to talk about the things, man. If ESPN can publish a story about it, we can talk about it. That's why I went with the ESPN publication, because, by the way, there are like 8 other people who wrote this story, and they were from outlets I never heard of. So that's why I put ESPN up there. Because this is a topic. And the Indiana Fever are putting themselves in a very precarious position. So, yeah. Shout out to kids, man. And as I'm saying, shout out to kids. I hope you guys were able to donate to the teachers and the backpacks and school supply program I talked about yesterday. I couldn't get that picture up somehow, but podcast love the kids, man. We want to help all the kids in school. We want to help all the kids learn. So anything I can do to help raise money for kids in school, public schools to be specific, charter schools as well, I will do so. So shout out to 7 Mile Casino. They're not a sponsor. Not yet, but they're doing something good for the community. And anything I can do to help, I will. It's a great question. ESPN still has people working there. Bots. Bots. Who wrote this story? Let me see. Who wrote this story? Let me see. Who wrote this? I can't find out who. I can't find who wrote the story, but That's all. Bots wrote it. There are only two people that work at ESPN. Everybody else is freelance. Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith. Together they make $100 million a year. If I told you they were going to pay Pat McAfee $60 million to be on ESPN, you would have laughed in my face. I'm never stopping this podcast. They're paying Pat McAfee $60 billion to do his podcast on ESPN. Buddy, I'm never stopping doing this. He'd say dumb shit to me all the time. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Oh, wait. No show tomorrow. No show tomorrow. The Alphabet Mafia did not get me. What? No show tomorrow, apparently. A better yet non-story is Illinois just banned cell phones in public schools. By the way, that's a great thing, Biggie. It's a really good thing. I applaud them. I applaud the state of Illinois for banning cell phones in schools. I got some takes. I really do. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. I'll holler at y'all Friday. No show tomorrow. No show tomorrow. You need a co-host to just stare at the camera. Ipe been on Ass Island since day one, buddy. Tito, Ipe been on Ass Island since day one for that bullshit excuse. Friday, y'all. I'll holler at y'all Friday. I'm off tomorrow. Peace.